Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to Kiki and Kibitz. It's me, Mary, and I am here tonight with a very, very special exclusive interview. You guys definitely recognize the lovely young lady on my right. She was from last season's B90, and she was quite a controversial figure. You got a minute, Renee. You were quite controversial, but we're going to get into all that. Thank you, Renee, for joining me. And guys, we were taking a little long before we went live because Renee and I had a talk about her blocking me and everything else. And do you want to explain why you blocked me?
Well, I blocked you to begin with because, like, when I started reading all the comments, like when the show first aired, I started going through all the comments and I noticed that everyone and everybody, everywhere, everybody was talking nothing but negative things about me. So when I saw anything like major, like you having a large fan base and talking about 90 Day, I was like, oh my gosh, panic, block them. They're not going to talk about me anymore. And then after that, I was like, forget it. I don't care. You know what I mean? Eventually. So
So
it is
that's
what it is.
that's basically my first question for you. After being quiet all this time, like you really haven't spoken out until recently, you started putting out a lot of receipts. Now that I'm unblocked, I got to see a lot of receipts that you've been putting out. And I'm just wondering, why now did you decide to start talking?
I gave Chitty a while, honestly. Like over time, I'm thinking, maybe he'll get over this. Maybe he'll realize what he's doing because he knows the truth, right? He knows what really happened, what went down. So it has to be killing him inside because nowhere near nothing happened as negative as they portrayed it. I'm not as mean and as heartless as he's trying to say. He's just mad because after my return, the opportunity for him to push reset didn't happen as easy as he wanted. Like he called hundreds of times and he also text messages hundreds of times begging for me. And then I even have a voicemail on him saying that he was basically hurt at the way it went down, but it's
And we're
okay.
gonna play all of the we're gonna play the voice message and all that. I have your receipts all organized, Renee.
So I was trying to, okay, long story short, then I was trying to give him time to come out and say the truth. I honestly thought maybe there was that little bit of hope where he'd be like, guys, it was really manipulated. Renee was a wonderful friend, even like we hung out. She brought gifts. My family and her didn't really get along on the second day, so all of us kicked her out. And even though we did what we did, she still stayed in hopes because like I thought that maybe he was just being too controlled by the sister. A little bit more time will give him more time and he'll come out. You know what I mean?
Right, right. I know what you mean. Did you get an opportunity to watch my interview with Chidi?
I don't like watching anything with Chitty, so I just saw a few clips.
Okay. So what did you hear in the clips that you
Oh,
did hear?
there was a few clips. He had said something about the I saw something about that I was threatening production and that I was fired, and I threatened him, and I threatened myself. I saw that, and
We're gonna get into that. Let me actually
there was
pull.
something else. Like I
Yeah,
said, I try to block him out. Anything with him, like, oh gosh, no. You know what I mean?
right, right. So actually, you did a reel on your Instagram. Let me pull that up about that, where you said that he was. Let me get into it. Give me 1 second. I have this reel that I want to. I believe it's this one.
Oh, and that production hate that they didn't like me, that they fired me.
Yes, it's this one. Okay, guys. So this is a reel from Renee's page where she talks about Chidi and the whole production thing. So give me 1 second. Let me just play it from the beginning.
That's always coming up with different excuses and lying. Now I ask you this, does that look like somebody who follows God? Because even if something was true and somebody was in that much pain, typically they come to your rescue and they want to find out what's causing all this problem or your behavior. But the fact that he continuously lies and throws me under the bus and continuously harasses me in multiple ways so shows that there is definitely something wrong with him and something off with those of you that choose to follow and listen to this guy. because I've already shown enough to show you that he's a liar. Think about this, okay? If somebody was a true Christian.
Okay, there's that one. And then there is this
Hola, it's me again. I thought I'd make something very clear, okay? Chitty took me, yes, I'm talking about it again until it's all over. And I've said it all. Chitty, again, took me to another town, not where he lives, not where he told me he was living at the blind school, is what I was always told. He took me over an hour away to his sister's house for filming. That wasn't his house. Those are his suitcases in the beginning of the episode. The black ones. When I arrived, the sister never wanted me there, and they had to do a lot of convincing to have me there because I didn't want to, because she was already being negative before I arrived. But I figured, what can go wrong? No one's that mean, like not like we're gonna fight or anything, right? So I get there and I go through the door. That's why you get there. Oh, you're gonna be nice now? Because she's so psychotic. But yeah, she looked at me like, oh, Renee, we're so happy to see you. That was false. But I was like, okay, we're gonna play nice. That's cool. We're gonna get along. And so, like, for example, like, after she set me up by the chickens, I went in there and I was apologizing. I was like, but you guys know me when production left. I was all, I didn't mean to yell at you. I said, but you know me. I was like, that was so mean. And I was like, I already told you production would try to do this. I told you they would try to set me up to have a chicken slaughtered. So I was just hurt that you put me in that position. And she goes, no, I understand. So we're in a whole other town, like I stated. And he took me to a whole other town because, I'm guessing, he did admit to me before my arrival that he had another girlfriend. But he said he broke up with her. And I don't mind it. I really don't. But I always told him, like, let's tell the truth. That doesn't, just because we love each other to death doesn't mean that we're ever going to see each other. So I tell him, you tell me if you ever meet anybody, and I'll tell you, but don't ever hide anything. And if you do, I fully understand. Maybe we could be together in the next life. So he would act like he was telling the truth, but I didn't find out till it was too over with, he claimed, that she actually, that he broke up with her. And I was joking with him, and I was like, well, you obviously suck. And he's like, what do you mean? And I said, well, you either suck in bed, I said, or your personality sucks, because she couldn't even stand you. Mind you, this was after I found out and after we were already fighting. So I was like, isn't that funny? But he didn't even tell me. And then when we were at the sisters, they wouldn't allow me outside on the balcony. They wouldn't allow. Hola, it's me again.
Okay, Renee. So we have a lot to unpack here. So, when did you meet Chidi originally? What year?
About 2018.
Okay. Now, when I interviewed him, he said you guys were together from 2018 to 2020, and you guys broke up because he was in school and you wanted him to quit school to come to the States to be with you. And you guys had no contact for 3 years. Now, you've posted some receipts that show messages between this time period. So I want to share those, and I just want to talk to you about it because now it's like your receipts and what he's saying kind of don't coincide. So here is a message from Chi to you dated Thanksgiving of 2022.
Right before I went up to Nigeria, I went up in 2023.
Right. When you guys met in 2018, did you guys have a break in your relationship at any point?
Never. Like, we, as you can see here, we were in love. Well, I was in love until the the very end. Like I even after my return, when he tried hitting on me and pushing reset, I still said good night, I'll always love you, and so on. Like even on the last day I was there, I told him I'll always love you. And I don't know if they showed the truth, but as I was walking away, he's all, I haven't loved you in 2 years. What kind of guy would ever love somebody like you? And he just started being so mean out of nowhere. But I just, I held my head, and by this point I had been crying every day. Like I compared my pain to that scene on My Girl when she lost her best friend, when she found him in the casket, when she was like crying saying, where are his glasses? And I
Right.
could relate because I'm like, I noticed what Chitty was missing, but the family didn't. And so I was crying, hoping every day that he would surprise me at the hotel. I mean, crying.
Another contradiction between what you're saying and what he's saying. You're saying that you gave him money for school,
Mhm.
and he told me that you only gave him $350 during the first 2 years that you guys were talking.
Mhm.
So how much money actually did you give him approximately?
I gave him about 750, and the 252 payments each was specifically for school, because he told me that obviously that his dad had passed away and that it was his mom. And then I felt so bad for the mom, because here she is with but he has a bunch of siblings, including him is 6. And I felt so bad for the mom having to pay. So I sent those payments, and that was specific for school. Like that's why I had so much patience waiting for him, was because I was waiting for him to end school. So when I heard him say that, that broke my heart. And then like the more I hear him talk, the more he disgusts me, because the things that he keeps lying about are sickening. But I'm the one that paid for that. And then also my the cell phone that he kept insisting that I buy him.
Okay. Um Now another thing that is
That was 150. I'm sorry, hold on. And then the extra 150 was just for whatever. And that was a separate one.
right, exactly. Another thing that's been floating around, and Chitty said that production had to call in a professional psychologist,
Mm-hmm.
sit down and have a meeting with you guys because they were worried about the state of your mental health. Is there any truth to that?
Oh no, that's false. The production, when they first get ready to like air the show, they give you the opportunity to be able to talk to somebody, because it's like getting used to fame. It's getting used to the negativity. Like they were really suggesting maybe you should not post so much. That way they'll just kind of shut up and back up off of you. These internet people are just, they're negative. That's the way they are. They feed off negativity. So it was just mostly helping you go
Right,
on with whatever it is.
right. So at one point you posted this to your page. I think our story might have been replaced with the other couple, because when we were in Nigeria, I actually quote fired the team and refused to work with them because they were not letting me do me. But after 2 days I felt bad that I dragged everybody over, so I continued the interview. So I believe during that time they started up with the other couple. I mean, they wouldn't let us do anything or talk about anything. It was get their game on the road because time is limited. So what was going on here?
Okay, so the reason I fired production was because like I was fed up. Like we were halfway into all of this, and I really wanted to hang out with Chitty. So he really wanted. Okay, the plan was to go to the hotel, get some clothes, and he wanted me to come back and stay the night. And this would happen 3 different times, but 3 different times the sister would take him in the back and have like a 45, 30-minute conversation with him, and then it would end up being no. So like she wouldn't even allow me to return to the house, and Oh, so sorry. What was your question again regarding? I go off track a little.
Oh, no, no, it's okay. I was just reading
Oh,
about
okay, yeah. Sorry. Okay, so the taxi issue. So yeah, I'm sorry. So I got so that day specifically, I was getting Chitty into the taxi and he was getting ready to go with me. And
right,
meanwhile, the sister and her husband were kind of following behind, wondering like, how are we going to get Chitty back in the house? And Chitty wanted to go with me. He really did. So I got him in the taxi, and then his sister dragged him out, and she's all, I promise you, Chitty, I'll take him over tomorrow, okay? Chitty, I promise you. And she kept saying things like, I promise you. And then I was like, no, but when I was trying to get Chitty in the taxi driver who is working with production through a contract called production, and they said, Renee's trying to get Chitty in the car. And so he's all, well, if Renee gets him in the car, you're ordered to not leave. I was pissed because here I had production stopping me. He wanted to go. And there you have the sister and the husband stopping me on that side. So then I got on the phone. I was like, you and your people are fired. I was like, I'm sick of this. I was like, you've been making every single decision. I've made none. I was like, you and your people are fired. But it didn't phase them because the last couple of days that I fired them, it turned out perfect because that was his interview days. And because he talks so slow, they spread it out through 2 days. So it worked out perfect. And by the third day, when I realized I dragged everyone all the way over here and I felt bad and it does cost a lot of money and this is messed up and we're almost done. Okay, screw it. You know what I mean? I'll go for the interview.
Right. Renee, do you think production had a big part in stirring the pot and making your relationship problems even worse?
Yeah, like once they saw that the sister was willing to manipulate, lie, and just like be a snake as well, they mostly like talked with her. Like whenever something would go down, he was like a big baby. Like he didn't handle it on his own. The sister did. You know what I mean? Or like the first 2 nights when I was at the sister's house, I kept wondering why the husband kept walking in all hours of the night and just kind of like checking on me, acting like he was checking on the generator. But then I was wondering why, and I just thought, maybe it really was the generator. Or maybe they're just checking to make sure I didn't sneak into Chitty's room or something. And then I found out, of course, when the show was starting, that he started calling me a cannibal. And I was like, did he seriously tell his family that I was going to eat him? And I'm like, but the things that he probably tells his family behind the scenes, that's probably why they don't like me. Like, God only knows what he says. So I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you think that Victoria already had a preconceived notion about you even before you got there?
Oh yeah, she didn't like me at all. But she didn't want me there. But the reason she allowed me in was because they did a lot of bribing and she gets paid. And it's like she gets like she's like the main player in the game. So once they saw how set they were, they all three took part in kicking me out that day. So like when I was fighting saying, "You're never gonna see me again," it was actually towards the sister because she literally just went in there and hit me. Like I had just come back and eaten with production. We were knocking on the door. They refused to answer. Chitty was hiding. And the only reason we got in through the door was because the door accidentally like opened by itself. And then when we walked in, Chitty was hiding, playing dead, refusing to talk to me. The husband was hiding in the back room with one of the little boy. And then the sister was hiding in the kitchen. And they wouldn't come out. So I had no choice but to go pack. But when I started packing out of nowhere, that's when the sister came in. And then she started saying such awful things. So they got me fighting, but they didn't show her yelling and fighting and spitting at me and acting all psychotic. But I wasn't fighting with Chitty that night.
I was going to ask you, do you think that the way the show portrayed you through editing like wasn't accurate? Like you just said, now when you and Victoria were fighting, they showed Victoria, they didn't show her yelling, but they showed
Mm-hmm.
you saying vile things. Was there other incidences of that?
Everything was controlled. Like even going for the chicken scene, that was filmed 2 different days, but the sister knew exactly what I didn't want. Like I watched them set up the whole thing and I had to tell her no, like to have the chicken slaughtered because she kept harassing me and I kept saying no, and then she'd follow me and I'd say no, and they didn't show all that. But finally on the 8th time, it's like, you keep on insisting and you're gonna be the one on the grill. Like, shut your mouth. This is insane. I told you no. We're just talking. You know what I mean? We're in the market. Let's enjoy the day. This is like my first full real outing. Like, get over this. Like, we don't need this nonsense. You know what I mean?
Right.
And she kept insisting on having it slaughtered purely for production. So that's what was like really hurtful. And then Chitty wouldn't stick up for me. So that was like, oh my gosh, you're so messed up. You know what I mean? Because everything that I didn't like or want, they did it. Like I didn't even like onion, and he's known I don't like onion for 5 years. And the first thing they make is onion, and the number one thing they know I don't like too is hot chili. And they made sure that that first meal was one of the hottest. But it's everything that I didn't want, he did it. You know what I mean?
Right, I know. Did
Or like
you
when, uh-huh.
did you talk to Victoria before you came out to Nigeria? Like, what was your contact with her?
Yeah, oh yeah. I tried to really get along. I'd show her like all kinds of, like when I I call it blind proof my property. I like lined my whole property with ropes so that Chitty can go out whenever he wanted. I like flattened out the flagstone. I screwed down all the picture frames. I was labeling shampoo bottles with this cute little, it's like a glue that sticks out. But I was trying to do everything I could. And like, I even bought him a Uno Braille and a soccer ball with the ball. Like, I did all kinds of stuff for him. Like, it's a big property, so I cleared it out for him. And I would send her pictures of all this and just tell her how excited I am. And so she
Right.
doesn't have anything negative from me. Like, they can claim I'm so negative, but how come after all these years, her or him don't have anything negative from me? You know what I mean? All they
Right.
could do is just,
Another thing that you brought up was how it got physical
mhm.
between you and Victoria. So let's talk about that. Like, what happened?
Okay, so that night when I was yelling, saying you'll never see, came into the bedroom, and like I said, and Chitty and all them were ignoring me. So I said, okay. I said, if you're gonna act like this, I'm gonna have no choice but to leave. That's it. So I go in the room and there's a bunch of switches. I can't find the light switch. So I'm trying to hurry up and find the light switch. And then as I'm doing that and I'm lifting, Victoria comes in there with the baby and she goes and hits me hard on the rib cage because I'm trying to find the light. And she had the baby in her hand. That's why she couldn't do much. And then I was like, oh, I was like, she hit me. And I was like, telling the producer, I was like, we're gonna go for sure. I was like, we can't even make up. I was like, she's literally just hit me. Now she's fighting with me. And then out of nowhere, like I almost think production sent her in or something, but I was in there packing and she stands there by the door and she just stares at me. And then she literally starts yelling things. She goes right in my face when I'm packing and she goes, you said you were going to kill me if I didn't have kids. And I said, what the hell did you just say? And that's when I stood up and I was all, you freaking psycho. I was all, Chitty, you know I don't talk like this. I was all, stick up for me. What's wrong with you? And I was really going off because she was over there yelling, crying. Like, I'm sure if you really look, you could see where she was crying. And she was spitting and just being real hateful. And even like the husband noticed. He kind of just stuck back and he couldn't believe it. Like, even when we were eating at the dinner table, I told him about all the lies and stuff Chitty had said. And he looks at Chitty and he goes, Chitty, is this true? And he goes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, it's true. And you should have seen the look of disappointment. And I was like, I'm glad. And I thought production was going to show all that because they kept telling me, we're going to show the truth. We're going to show them how awful they are. Like, you come all the way for him and he sets you up to have chickens slaughtered and so on. You know what I mean?
Right, right. So, Renee, can I just ask you, could it be possible that Victoria accidentally bumped into you?
No. No, she
No,
was mad. She was actually crying and she's all, why didn't you tell me? Like, she was yelling and she's all, why didn't you tell me you were leaving? And I said, what? I was all, I just walked in. You're ignoring me. Production's getting their stuff. Like, hurry, guys, they're fighting. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I just walked in. I was all, how can I said, that's why they're gonna call you in the room so that I could tell you that I'm gonna go stay at the hotel for the night. But it's like they got so blown up the moment she found out I was leaving. But what do you expect? You just kicked me out. You know what I mean?
right. Okay. Um, so what are some misconceptions that you've seen out there about yourself that you want to clear up?
Well, they keep saying I'm psychotic, and I'm like, that's so that's so false. Like, look at the editing. Come on, see right through that. If you believe it, you're the one that needs help. You know, because we all like, I was like, you can say, well, look at her attitude. I'm like, okay, she pointed at a blind man. That was one of the things. I'm like, well, if you were that angry and someone did that to you and they were humiliating you to that degree, you'd be yelling. And in all the interviews or anything you've ever seen me, I'm very like expressive with my hands. So I'm like,
Right,
if you don't want my finger at you, whether you're blind or not, don't lie, harass, or use me. And you won't see my finger. You know what I mean? But I
right.
was
I
like,
know what
I've
you mean.
never in my life pointed my finger at somebody like that. I think the reason I did was because he can't see. So, and he actually tarted sometimes. So I'm trying to like point it into him, like, you know what I mean? Stop it. Like, you know, and you shouldn't be, you know what I mean? But if he could
Right.
see, I wouldn't have.
Well, Renee, I listened, to quite a bit of your social media today. And, my followers sent me some of your stuff when you had me blocked. And honestly, sometimes when you talk about Chidi, I feel like you're de hum like making him less of a human. That
Mhm.
and I understand your anger towards him, but like sometimes when you call him shitty and you call him boy
Yeah.
and
Well,
things
to
like
me,
that,
it's like a part of evolution. Like you either evolve or you fall off. To me, it's like, why do you have to be so negative? If you can't act like a decent human, what are you in reality? I'm tired of sticking up for negativity. If he wants to be considered a man, he should act like that. And the number one thing he should have done was come out and tell you all the truth. Even then, it's like, even if he just like, you could tell he definitely used me because on the side, he's like, will you marry me? Will you sign a marriage certificate? Will you buy an apartment? But on the side, he's treating me a whole different way. You know what I mean? And then
right?
when I come back, I was like, he tries to just push reset. And it's like, seriously, like at some point, you got to stand up and just stop this because even like, if I could show the chat, he's very much so a narcissist. And I'm just, like I said, I'm not going to call anybody a man at that point. Like, if you want to be considered better than that, then act better than that. You know what I mean?
Right. I know.
Like, don't be using, especially like hiding behind Christianity. That makes me mad. You don't hide behind a religion. You know what I mean? So, and then do people as wrong as you are and become a hypocrite and a liar. Like, don't do that. That's wrong.
So,
Or use your disability to collect what you'd like. Like, have a heart. You know what I mean? At
right.
least tell everybody the truth and then move on with your life. You know,
So when did you finally come back home from Nigeria?
2024. I
And
was only,
you said that basically as soon as you got back, he started
no,
sending
20,
you messages.
sorry, 23.
Oh,
Yeah.
2023. Okay.
Yeah, soon. No, not as soon as I got back. He started more so as soon as he went back home away from his sisters.
Oh, okay. Okay. So we have some of the messages, but you say that there are thousands and thousands of messages. And I asked Chidi about the messages, and he claims that they're basically faked. That you opened up another account, and I don't know what is going on here, guys. Give me 1 second. There we go. I lost you for a second, but you're back. Chidi claims that the messages are fake and that you opened up another account and you were basically, texting back and forth to yourself.
Yeah, that's
Now,
pathetic. I wish I can have a lie detector test, but I swear on my life, my animals, and my entire family that that's definitely untrue. He'll try to figure out a way out, like that sexual talk, like you're the one where he says when he was sexually flirting with me on that specific one, he's trying to say that that too was made up, and that's not true.
so I want to play the voice message that Chidi left for you.
Hmm.
That's posted on your Instagram. And then I want you to tell me, you know, uh background.
It's complicated. Double tap to activate. No, when it comes to the area of the camera group, in fact, I didn't know that it is gonna be a highly controlled production. Everything was just complicated and stuff. Well, it's I don't know what to say, but I just want to be with you. That is it. I just want to be with you. But it's quite unfortunate how you accused me of um, being a scammer and trying only to extract visa from you after you know how much I've loved you right from the beginning, how much I was there for you, you know, in those times when we, got to know each other newly. I was always there for you, encouraging you, inspiring you and helping you get through some of all those challenges. It's quite saddening how all of a sudden I now became a scammer and the one who is only trying to extract visa. But it's all the it's in fact there is no problem. There's nothing that you've said and nothing that has happened have changed my love for you. Indeed, my love for you still remains evergreen. You are still the queen of my heart. It doesn't matter how tall the challenges are that are every day attacking our relationship, but what has brought us together is greater and bigger and stronger. Don't you ever think our coming together is just by accident. No, it is never by accident. It is divinely planned. If we were meant to be apart, we would have been apart a very long time ago. In fact, we wouldn't have known each other. Why do you think that after all the fight and bickerings, after everything, we still come back and circumstances will still bring us together and stuff? So, well, maybe in your mind, you might be thinking that it is over between us, that you are moving on as you continue saying it. Well, if that is your decision to move on, I'm not trying to stop you, but I can only tell you that it is beyond us.
Found something exciting.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about the context. What happened? When was that message?
That was probably about 2 months after my return from Nigeria, after he went back home when he left his sisters. That's when he started pushing reset and talking about how I'm his queen and he loves me and he's not going to let me go, and no matter what, that I'm his.
Okay, and you, when we were talking today, you also brought up that some women have come forward to you about Chidi. Um, Now I want to just pull up the messages. Now, obviously this was going on while you guys were talking, while you were in Nigeria. Like, when did these women start their relationships with him?
I think a couple months after the shows, there's been multiple females that have approached me and said, things like that they wanted to talk to me a little bit because they have a feeling that they might being used, and I kind of figured just blow them off because maybe they're just trying to see if I'm jealous or something, right? So I kind of ignore it, and then there's been too many of them who say like Chitty doesn't stop calling nonstop, even at 3 a.m. his time. But as soon as they say things like that, it's like I know that's him. And I know that they're telling the truth because that's the way he is. He calls nonstop. Like if I don't answer, there's like 50 calls in a row, and he used to panic if I didn't answer. He would almost start hyperventilating and crying. I'd be answering 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. It doesn't matter what time, my time or where I was, he would call me and I would always answer. Like if I was at the hotel, he'd still call, or anywhere, I'd answer him no matter what. Like he called so much that in 5 years, in 5.5 years, I only called maybe 5 times. That's how much he called me.
Okay, so in these messages, there is someone named Christian that's brought up, and Chidi in our interview brought up someone named the Emmanuel.
Uh-huh.
Actually said that when you first got to Nigeria, and he told you again, because Chidi told me that he told you before you were going to fly out there that he wasn't going to have sex with you and you guys were going to sleep in separate bedrooms. And then once you got there and he told you again that you guys were going to sleep in separate bedrooms, you flipped out and you told production that you didn't want to film with him anymore, and you had um the manual to film with. What's up with that? Is
Man,
any of
that's
that
a mess. I'm trying to comprehend it. Okay, regarding the manual, see, along the way, Chitty always had friends or brothers or sisters always watching and watching me like a hawk. Like if somebody come over, Chitty wanted to know the name, and I thought it was because he was blind and trying to earn trust. So he have all his friends watching me, all his friends being friends with me. This specific friend, he had in one of his blind schools. They kind of meet through each other because they're like a group of, get-togethers because they can't see. So I met him through there, and that's where Chitty, like I noticed that him and Chitty were friends, and I started talking about him, about Chitty, and he actually was over there talking about, oh, that's awful, because I was kind of complaining to this specific guy that I was already friends with, at the Emmanuel, and I was talking to him, and then I noticed that I was talking to him, Chitty was there at the same time, and I would tell Emmanuel, sorry, everything that Chitty would say and do. And like I said, the reason we were fighting was because at this point it was like too late. I'm already gonna fly up, but now it's getting ugly and everything's already set to go. So now I'm putting all my complaints on this Emmanuel guy, and he's like, oh, that's so messed up. And come to find out now that he's saying that, I was like, apparently Emmanuel got all hurt because what happened was before, like a week before I went up, thank God I don't shut up. I have all this evidence, but I was talking to production and I sent a picture of Emmanuel to the producer. And I said, if things go ugly, because I also posted proof of like I was crying to the producers, afraid of things going ugly. And I said, please help me put a smile on my face. But I said, if things go ugly, I said, and Chitty acts like dumps me like that, I said, I still want to hang out. I want to go to the markets. I want to go everywhere. And thankfully, I knew somebody, which was Chitty's friend, to hang out with. And this guy kept saying, Chitty's trash, Chitty's this, Chitty's that. So he wanted me to hang out with him instead. And because I didn't hang out with him instead of Chitty, that's when they came out and got together and said this mess. But he's an embarrassment, because even at one point, I'll straight up tell everyone, even at one point, him as Chitty's friends, just like all the rest of Chitty's friends, have always tried to hit on me behind his back. They either steal his phone or they straight up hit on me. And this specific one, who can't see, was talking about, what a wonderful woman I am, how pretty my voice is, and then he scoots down to his little wanker. Fine. But that's what most of Chitty have in the past. I'm kind of used to that kind of stuff, because in the past Chitty would send his friends, and I thought at first he would be like testing me. Will she hit on them? I'm not as blind as you. I could see they're on your friends list, and I could see they're your friends. But since they're coming in and wanting to make friends with me, well, okay, I have nothing to hide. You know what I mean? But that's where he's getting it, because I didn't hang out with him, so he gets mad. But thank God I have that evidence.
What do you want fans to know about you personally? Because I feel like you got a really bad reputation on TV. Like, people call you the crazy chicken lady. So if you could change their minds, what would you want them to know personally about you?
Man, that I spent, in all reality, just about me in general. I'm real kind. I've never had anyone hating me until this show aired. I've never had an issue with anybody. I'm real sweet. And I gave 5.5 years every day, just waiting and just hoping to finally, because I knew deep down, like I have a strong intuition. I knew that I would meet Chitty. I just wasn't sure when, in this life or the next. You know what I mean? So the whole time it's like, and it's like I would meet guys along the way. And it's like I just couldn't ever move forward with them. It's like it was always Chitty deep down. You know what I mean? So I stuck for him. So let's just say that I was always dedicated, wide open. He knows everything about me. And so now I finally arrive in Nigeria, and like it feels like I was shot. I felt like I had to have his literal funeral in Nigeria. Like I cried all the time, because I was honest about everything. And the whole time production kept saying, believe us, we're on the American side, we're on your side, we're going to get everyone to tell the truth. Like I have that posted on my page where they were saying, not to specifically believe them, but that they were going to make everybody fall in love with me. And I said, I don't care. I said, it hurts so bad. I said, it's not the same as having your number one choice. But I said that, I was like, the message to production was right there saying that. And it's like they saw the truth. So when production did what they did, it hurt because they saw the truth. You know what I mean? And it just hurt because I felt like I lost all my friends, and they got hurt too, because they kept getting mad because they saw how much Chitty was lying to them. So they kept catching him in lies, and that was upsetting to them.
So just to clarify, did you meet them before you got to Nigeria, or was it after you got to Nigeria and then he introduced you to his friends?
Chitty, you mean?
Yes, Chitty.
You mean? I was never introduced to his friends. I already knew his friends, but
okay. So you knew Emmanuel and Christian.
Christian a long time ago, and I tried telling Chitty, although your stupid friend keeps trying to hit on me, and he kept trying to act like he was in love, but Christian plays everyone, and he's not the first person that tried. And then I was like, I don't know if Chitty's just being ignorant or not catching on. Like his friends lie to him and his sister about everything. Like even we were walking out of a restaurant in Nigeria, and his friend literally slammed him on the middle of a pole. And he right away goes, oh, sorry. No, he didn't say sorry. He's all, oh, look, watch it. He said something about that it was the waitress. And I said, don't lie to him. Also, you just slammed him into the door frame. It wasn't the waitress, Chitty. But he believes them no matter what. Or you know what was weird too? Is I had just bought Chitty a cell phone, right? And it broke right as I was driving, flying up there. And then like a couple weeks into it, he bought another cell phone. And one day he told us outside the restaurant, can you take a picture of us? And I said, sure. That's the one that he has posted on his page. And as I was getting in there, I don't ever look at a guy's phone. Like, I don't know, that's disrespectful, wallet and everything. So I looked in there, and of course I had to get into the gallery. And the first photo I saw was a picture of his sister in her bathroom, standing like just with Chitty innocently behind her, facing the wall. And she just took a selfie of herself. Now, whatever, a selfie of the sister in his cell phone in the bathroom with him not knowing she took it. So like 2 days passed and I said, did you know that in your cell phone you have this picture? And he confronted her and she denied it. And I'm like, you sick ass pervert. Like, even if that must mean something, because why are you taking selfies of him and of yourself in the bathroom and then denying it of all things? You know what I mean?
Right.
And then she's put me in the other opposite bedroom simply so that I didn't like sneak over to his room. Like, she really tried to keep us apart. But you know what? On the second day I was there, I guess production helped Chitty set me up, but he actually went in the room to try to have sex with me. He did. He went in the room, and I'm real shy, so I like, I like the fact that he was blind. So he comes in, and at this point, the sister's out getting food or something, and then he comes in the room, and he's like wearing these, pajama shorts. And then he tries grabbing my butt down there. He tries grabbing my chest. And then he tries like kissing me, of course, with the tongue and everything. And I'm like backing up. I'm like, whoa, I know you can't see me. But I was like, even if I was going to do it, I'm going to make sure that you love me first. For one, I'm not going to play your games. And two, it wouldn't be in this house. That's disrespectful and rude and just gross. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then looking back now, when the sister said, did you guys have sex? I was like, you tried to set me up. You know? So that's what makes me mad about, like, when you say, why do you, like, degrade him? I'm like, because he doesn't deserve to even be called a human being at this point. Because, like I said, the number one thing that has me boiled is that he tries to say he's a Christian when he's not. You know what I mean?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? A deep down real. So that's what upsets me.
Right. So what did your family say when you got back home?
They expected it. My daughter was really shocked because she didn't know that he'd sink that low.
Right.
My son was hurt because he made all kinds of games. Like, he wanted to play with him on the trampoline and put a net up so that Chitty didn't fall. And then he had all kinds of games that he had made up for him. So
Right.
there was that. And then my mom was like, as expected.
And how did that make you feel?
Well, I tell her it was destiny. What I went through was for a reason, spiritually. Because 3 times, I know like this is for the spiritual people, but 3 times on camera, I confronted Chitty and I said, Chitty, I was like, do you remember when we first met, you said there was a force that could make me do or say anything you wanted? And he'd go, yeah. And I said, it's a lower vibrational force that apparently you're stuck in. And I said, you can't get out of it. I said, I've rise above that. I said, you can't control me. You have no say so. I said, I was free. And so I was like, he doesn't realize how demonically he possessed he really is. I was like, hint the apple. You get hit by an apple. There's the reference. And then you fall 2 years later and slum your other eye out. And I used to cry to him and I used to be like, I have a feeling that God's using me to test you. Because, people get tested in many ways. And even like when we were at the monkey park, I was telling him things like, I feel like you need help. I feel like I'm here to help you and so forth. And I feel like there's like a demonic energy over you and so forth. But like, even when I was like, how come you don't pray with me? And he's all, why should I? That is between me and my God. But he actually yelled it. And I was like, oh, he didn't even take me to church. And I wanted to see the world's largest church, right? But he didn't even take me there. And then he didn't even go to church the whole time we were even in Nigeria or pray. When I was around and he was there all day,
Right. Right. Do you regret your relationship with Chitty looking back?
Yeah. I regret everything. But I know it happens for a reason, but I'm disgusted. I'm like, God, if only I just left the second day, but I knew it was for a reason. Because even when I was in the hotel crying and stuff, God would like show me a vision or something and let me know you're on the right path. You're okay. You know what I mean? And I knew that it was here for a reason because like ever since I was 2, I always knew that I would be like in this position of being like, well known. So I've always had that intuition.
What are your long-term goals after this? Like 90 days over for you? that, train is done, what's the next step for you? Like, where do you want to take all this?
I'm just going day by day, and I just really want to get the truth out there. I don't want no more people scammed or hurt just because he's disabled. I want them to know the truth and then decide from there. Because, like I said, there's multiple females coming at me and saying the same thing, and he's playing a lot of people, and they're saying his friend Christian is also playing a lot of females. So that's just wrong. That's mean. Like, at some point, like, I just wish he would sit, like, tell you guys the truth. You know what I mean? If he had done that, I think he would have. I think he would have been a good man if he would have sat down and told you guys what it was, and even put the sister in her place. You know what I mean? I would have been like, "Dang, that's hot," you know. But I was like,
Right,
since he wants to take it so low, you want to be so low, I'll go that low. You know what I mean?
right. I know what you mean. Okay, before I let you go, do you have a final message for the fans?
No, just careful when you're judging those that are on reality shows, because for the most part, most of them are actors. And when there is those few like me and Chitty that are in there, they're gonna do everything they can to tear us apart. So it's like the world runs like a curse. So basically saying when everyone said, "Oh, she's psychotic, she's this, she's that," and started spilling so much negatives, like you don't understand that you took the best, he lost the best thing. He's telling everybody that that he's the best thing that could have happened. I'm like, oh, reverse that, because I was willing to do everything and anything for you, no matter what, defend you, take care of you, be there for you. And now you have the whole world putting me under a bus because you want to be an ignorant little liar. Well, like I said, if you want to take it that far, I'll come out that far, you know? But like, don't be so mean. Like, chill a little bit, investigate for yourself, get to know someone, and then, yeah, better choices.
There you go. I just want to say again before I let you go, thank you so much for unblocking me and giving me this opportunity to hear your side,
And
because
thank
it's
you.
always good, to hear both sides. And I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you,
Thank
you
you,
too.
everybody. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, everyone in the live chat, and have a good night.
You
Bye.
too. Bye.